Hello everyone, welcome, and let's get to talking some Bitcoin. We are now at 72K, new all-time high, of course. This is all really big, but yeah, this is a very interesting time in the market. We've now entered a completely theoretical space here in terms of price action. You can see how thick the overhead resistance was, probably a handful of walls at something probably like 71, 70, oh sorry, this is at 68K, so imagine 68.5 and 69, 69.5 and 70. And then with some random pokes up to the top there, we have broken these areas of resistance, weakened them largely, and then breached them. Here's the breach of 71K with signals pretty much the entire time. Now we have a little bit of overhead resistance, but we're in a totally theoretical space. It's a totally different environment now. Back in all-time high space. Just it means that sellers are the only they don't really know where to place their sell orders, but they're the only thing stopping from price from going straight to, millions. So one thing to note as we've gone up here is we have lost the aggregated the strength of this bearish spread in the aggregated spot markets. We've gained a lot of momentum, a lot of strength in the bid-ask spread of the aggregated perpetual markets. So this is very interesting to me. Um, let's see here. So yeah, and the other thing is I'm not 100% sure what the fundamental kicker is. It's a little difficult to know, I think. Um, Obviously, the running ETF narrative could have something to do with it, but I'm not sold on that. I'm really not sold on that. Alright, and apologize, the camera, I did something wrong here, so just, you're gonna have to bear with me for this episode. Sorry, guys. But yo, what's up, Pops? Jackknife, Pax OG, 75308 says the next stop. What's up, Mo? Moon Boy, see, that's what I'm saying. I don't think the Moon Boys are back. That's the thing that's weird to me. It would be if Moon Boys were back, I would prefer the outlook on this market. It would mean that we're dealing with something that we're somewhat used to. Right now, I don't think we're dealing anything we're used to. If Moon Boys were back, we'd see a lot more. We'd see a rising tide raise all ships. We'd see Litecoin being talked about, and the Litecoin diehards going nuts all day because it just pumped 50%. We would see the same amongst every cryptocurrency community. We'd probably see XRP tards going absolutely haywire, because price pumped. I'm not really seeing any of that, or even hearing it. So yeah, I don't think this is Moon Boys. What's up, Mirza? I don't think this is Moon Boys, and I'm not here to be a perma bear. Obviously, it's easy to get caught up in something like that. We had a few situations here that probably could have been the top, but and very very possibly could have been, but they weren't. So it's important not to stick to being a perma bear, but I always analyze the market in such a way where I like to see a story. I like to see something causing all this. It makes more sense. Now, FOMO makes a lot of sense. Even though price not make a lot of sense in a FOMO period of time, we would jump from 60 to 70 to 80 to 90 to 100 or something like that quickly, right? And to a lot of people that wouldn't make sense. To me, having been in Bitcoin for so long, I would say that makes a lot of sense. But I don't see the laser eyes even now. I don't see the community going absolutely wild. I don't see stories of every all these new people. I have a handful of phone calls, people asking me how to get into Bitcoin and stuff. But I'm not seeing all the things that would make me think the Moon Boys. And when you say Moon Boys, I'm thinking everyone that's buying as Bitcoin goes higher, FOMOing in. Um, yeah, I don't know. So yeah, I think this is an interesting run. It's an interesting run. Still gotta enjoy the ride, It's just I'm not 100% sure what the situation is here. Now, Jackknife is a good time to deploy financial capital. I have a bit of left, and I was waiting for a big dip, but FOMO. Yeah, well, that always goes back to DCA. I think you should, especially at times like this, DCA. DCA is probably one of your greatest tools in investing in something like Bitcoin. Even if you would have bought the top, even if you would have bought the top over here, back in 2020 or in 2021. In 2021, you even if you would have bought this top, and dollar cost average, you probably would have made break even by around here, by around our second return to 30K. A lot of time spent down here. Maybe this return over here, you probably would have been close to back to break even by a couple years later. Let's see here. This is November 2021 by let's say July 2023. So roughly a year and a half later, probably would have been at break even. So even if this is a top, or this isn't, I still think in both scenarios, dollar cost averaging is the key. I would rather take those dollar cost average and risk the fact that I could have blown my money all right here. Let's say I have $100 and Bitcoin jumps to 140K and now I have $200. Yeah, that's certainly possible, but I mean, look, it's this is very interesting. I don't really it's very clear that there is no price structure. There is no support structure, I should say. You can see that we have spent a bit of time here at 52K, and we have spent a good bit of time down here in the low 40Ks. 40 to 50Ks, right? So we do have support down here. I would make sure to save some dry powder for that. I would be very interested in saving some dry powder for that. So having gone vertical, minus a couple quick pullbacks, none lasting very long, nothing convincing the market that this is over. I would think DCA is your greatest tool here, and yeah, you might lose some opportunity in terms of profits, but I mean, to me, at any moment, this thing could be coming down, could come down. There's just let's look at the order book again. There's just no liquidity. There's no liquidity chasing this run. We have a 70,000 Bitcoin price pack, 110 Bitcoin. Very small packs, very small packs. This is a relatively illiquid order book. It's not terrible, but it's not as bad as it has been. Maybe at this price point here in this time, there could have been far less liquidity. So this is probably looking better than it did, and the sell side is actually looking quite a bit more robust, being that it is in a theoretical territory than I would expect as well. So let's see here. Uh, so yeah, I would say DCA, my friend. And you guys, with that being said, make sure that you go if you're not already in it, make sure you go to check the Discord, click the link below the video. Um, We got some good shit in there. We got the VIP. Of course, we got Giga Trend, which I'll show some Giga Trend signals here. We are in an active Giga Trend long. We'll discuss that. And there is a trading competition getting started here. So you guys make sure to, click the link below the video to join the trading competition. And yeah, we're gonna have a good fucking time. All right, so let's see here. What else do we got? What else do we got? Let's run through some Gigatrend stuff. Let's see. And Mirza, this is interesting. I'm living Samson Mao's Max Payne theory, going to 1 million quickly. Everyone sells and gets priced out. Yeah, I think that's a bit pipe dreamy. Obviously, 1 million is a pretty big jump. But it's I don't really like those kinds of calls. There's really no legitimacy to something like a 1 million Bitcoin price call. It's almost as silly to me as having said Bitcoin's going down to 10,000 or in the last bear market. 10,000 was a little wild of a call. Um, for Bitcoin having topped out in the high 60s. It would be like saying Bitcoin's going to 1,000 actually. More that's more what it would be like to me. Bitcoin going to 100K certainly in 18 days or some shit. Someone's mentioning Pomp that piece of shit brings out that every time Bitcoin's made a new all-time high, it doubled 18 days later. I'm sure. Let's just assume that's true. And the thing is also every single time we've had an all-time high, it's been post-halving. Or maybe not every single time, but the past few times that we've been really involved in crypto, it's been post-halving stuff. And this market was totally different. So I don't know. Um, the thing that I keep thinking is that whales aren't here to save the day. They've never been here to save the day. So even with these big players involved, it's still interesting to me to see all this price action where they are saving the day. So yeah, just very curious. Now Gigatrend again, 14 days free if you guys want to check this out. Been fantastic. Um, Catching you in some beautiful positions here. We have our last daily long trigger at 62. We're currently sitting at 72. So we're talking a 16% gain on GigaTrend's last long on the daily. Let's talk about the 4 hour for a quick second here. 4 hour has been got a little bit of chop on this wild action. Let's see, one before it was pretty much spot on. 52 to 61. We had a loss in there, and then we have another chop, and now another open long. So I would say the daily is our confirmation of the trend bias. That's a little bit of the dangers of trading here. You will get chopped up in this if you play the game, but yeah, GigaTrend's looking pretty solid. I do like the fact that we're in another long. It doesn't mean that we're technical. Looking at this 4 hour chart, you can see a lot of wick space overhead. I do think that there's a lot of signs to me that the market is getting toppy. It has that feel. It has that sense. Um, I I just again I'm at a bit of a loss here because we are in theoretical space and there isn't the emotion to drive us forward. It's not emotion driving us forward. You know, I scroll through Twitter and I'm not seeing people going absolutely haywire. It's totally different, man. Totally different. And yeah, this is another point that Mirza brings out. There haven't really been dips. This is your dip right here, right? From 68 to 59, about $10,000 swing 13%. You know, the very normal statement piece of a Bitcoin bull run are 30% pullbacks, 20 to 30%. That's, 3 to 5 of those is considered normal. I haven't seen one, so there's definitely something to this that's very interesting to me, very interesting. And whales aren't here to just keep inflating the value of Bitcoin. Let's take a look at Solana active long, currently sideways. Last Gigatrend long got a 13%. Probably a couple other winners here. Yeah, definitely some good ones. So currently in a Solana long on Gigatrend and on Pape. This is probably one of my favorite ones. We are long down here and currently sitting at a 560% profit. This is massive. So you guys check out Gigatrend, 14 days free. Might as well. If you have TradingView especially, just plug it in. But yeah, we have some good. This is the altcoin behavior I would expect market wide. This is exactly what I would expect market wide. It's very interesting to me that Bitcoin has now made a new all-time high, but alts are, most alts are really late to this party. And I think we should expect to see, it would make me feel a little more comfortable to see the alts going haywire. We did see it with Shiba a little bit start to go absolutely crazy, but I would expect to see this on a handful of other cryptocurrencies, and in fact, probably most cryptocurrencies. Um, so yeah, that's kind of the stuff that I'm looking for. I'm looking for a lot of those types of signatures to confirm to me that we are, in fact, in a heavy retail driven bull market, which is more my comfort zone. Obviously, my comfort zone doesn't matter. Market's going to do what it does. Whales, look, if they're the ones buying all this up and it's BlackRock and iShares or whatever, all these guys, that's just how it is. That could very well be the narrative as to why we're doing all the things we are. Is this something that I wholeheartedly believe in right now? No, I think there has to be some sort of downside action. That even they wouldn't want to leave such an empty, illiquid order book to the downside. I mean, why in the world would they buy so degen? And obviously to meet a demand of an ETF, but why would they be putting all that in when the market structure is so weak? That's some of the stuff that's making this difficult for me to comprehend. It would be one thing if we had buy walls chasing the run and we had a 1,000 Bitcoin buy wall at 71K and we had a 1,000 buy wall at 71.5 and we had all these crazy buyers chasing the book. It's actually been relatively calm, and that's what's getting me a little bit is this just doesn't feel like there's a narrative that I can put on this that would make it seem justified. So, a few more questions here, and Taco Liquor, maybe it's a good thing. I'm sure you're talking about, the price action and all that stuff going high and theoretical. Um, I, I, well, obviously it's a good thing for Bitcoin, right? I just think it's a weird thing to be sitting up here without support. It's I wish I saw more orders in the book on the buy side. That would give me a lot more confidence that this is probably ETF driven or something, because that's I think more of what whales would do. If they had to trade on the open market, they would be very interested in accumulating large orders, um, and limit orders in the book. Yo, what's up, Crypto Commons? Oh man, I realized what I did wrong. I didn't launch Zoom before I did OBS. That's why my camera isn't working. Um, I was about to send you a fucking Zoom link. We're gonna have to go live soon, brother. But yeah, ETFs. All right, so and this is another thing. Pax OG, ETFs ramping up, making the average investor moon boyish. Not so much media cover your own personal flavor sweet on a burner. Where else did someone say something? And Taco Liquor says ETF people aren't looking at alts, I think, and that's very true. Taco Liquor, this is very true. Um, let's talk about that for a sec. You're correct. ETF people are not looking for um for alts. But with the market pumping in this way, what tends to happen, ETF or no, when Bitcoin makes a new all-time high, everyone starts calling and asking, hey, how do I buy some of that there Bitcoin? Remember, Bitcoin has this anomaly associated with it where as the price of Bitcoin goes up, people get more and more interested in purchasing Bitcoin. This isn't the same case with your favorite pizza. If your favorite pizza place started raising the price of pizza from $1 to $1.25 to $1.50 to $2 to $5 a slice, more people wouldn't be going there. And we're talking in, let's say, a small time frame, something like Bitcoin, a cycle, let's say, in a 1 year time frame. If this was happening with a pizza restaurant, less and less people would go there. They would be less and less interested in the price of this asset. Or of that asset, right? So Bitcoin has a unique anomaly associated with it, where as the price of Bitcoin goes higher, more and more people get interested in purchasing it. Very much a psychological thing that I do believe is useful to the price of Bitcoin, causing it to go in these very, very chaotic upside parabolic moves. Now, but that also causes people, because think about it, there might be, for every one Bitcoin maximalist, there's 10 shitcoiners. So every person that does end up calling that one family member that knows how to get into crypto, that one those people, a lot of them out there are going to say, "Yeah, but you know what? This thing's a fraction of a penny right now. You can get 100 million of these tokens, and if it becomes worth even a tenth of a penny, you'll become a millionaire." So this is what causes the altcoin space to go mayhem, is that type of stuff. We're not really getting that. That's what I'm saying. It wouldn't be the ETF people. It would be the everyone else. And the everyone else, there's two types of money, right? There's big money that can move the market, and then there's tons and tons of dudes with little money that can move the market, right? So I think it takes the tons and tons of people with little money to carry the market. They end up becoming the exit liquidity for the big money. So and that's why I'm not really 100% sure what to think about this just yet, because a new all-time high for the Bitcoin community. Bitcoiners are already buying and doing their normal things every day. The ETF stuff, that's probably the biggest kicker that we have, the biggest kind of unknown situation where, yeah, there's an accumulation, probably a lot to do with mined coins, probably a lot to do with OTC trades. But overall, it's not that, it's the everyone else that I think carry the market, especially from high to high to high to high to high, from all these highs over the past number of weeks, days, whatever. Um, it would be weird to me that ETFs would be pushing price up in all these at a lot of these places post January 10th. Maybe not some of these places down here. Obviously, this was a little bit more legitimate. The support was very clear. But now that we're outside of that range, it's getting a little funky to me. It's weird for me to believe that a whale would want to jump in and
and start FOMOing, essentially FOMOing it. I mean, this is crazy. We have a lot of support down here. This makes a lot of sense. There were some big accumulations down here, huge accumulations down here. Big accumulation right here. I remember this dip very vividly. It was a beautiful dip caught by probably whales, and now here we are launching. So let's see here. Let's see here. Bitcoin is becoming more stable, so 30% pullbacks are a thing of the past, in my opinion. Pops, that's a very interesting point. Now, I would agree with you if I saw more liquidity in the order book, but I just don't see it. I don't really see. Here, watch. Let's do this actually. I'm gonna go in the right way. Let's go down here. All right. So our most significant support is in the 59 to 61K, and it actually has changed. I think our most significant support might have been a bit lower. It might have been the 49 to 51K, but it looks like it's now changed. We have some robust liquidity, 300 to 2 to 300, maybe almost a 400 pack here, 670 and a 740 at 59 and 61. So there is a price floor, um, but it's $10,000 away. Um, there is some robust liquidity here. This is looking pretty sweet. Um, but yeah, I don't think 30 to 40% or 20 to 30% pullbacks are a thing of the past. The book is pretty illiquid, all things considered, but I wouldn't say it's all. You know what? I think illiquid is the wrong word. I think it's pretty neutral. But you can see that we, excuse me, guys, have massive support in some ranges, whereas on the sell side, we're dealing with some pretty thick walls, quite a bit more, right? At the top of the book, especially, we have heavy walls, and then we have this, 440 pack and 346. All hovering around the top of the book, and this is all going to be theoretical. This is all we make a move up, orders shift, and they're going to keep adapting to that. Same with the buy side. It appears now that a lot of the buyers are chasing this run. They are creating some decent liquidity here, but the most, is much further down, and that's that support structure that we are not creating right now. That support structure should be, let's see, it was 51K right now. Our walls are 61 and 60, so 60 and 59 or something like that. So we have basically 5 days of price discovery at one of the areas where some of the most significant support is. What with almost no support at 51K, let's go back and take a look real quick. Yeah, with little to no support down there now. So this structure is getting a little bit too hot. And then obviously you can see down below there's absolutely nothing. And this would probably change in the same way that the sell side would change if we move higher. So I'm not expecting anything too crazy here. I would think that there's some walls that would start to sprout up here in some of those areas. I think it would be wise to leave some set and forget orders there, even if they don't get filled for a year. They probably will, maybe 2 years or something, whatever. But looking back at this, this is price discovery. For a number of days, we sat here, we argued with buyers and sellers, argued, and ultimately buyers decided they were going to take the win. Sellers gave up selling, buyers created enough support to keep sellers on their heels, and buyers were buying enough Bitcoin to scare the sellers that we ended up going nuts again, right? Over here, we had a long consolidation of doing something very similar, with buyers trying to spike us out, sellers trying to cap us, a lot of really good stuff, a failed attempt to carry us lower, and there's a lot of price discovery in this range. So it was a very justifiable move. Up here is just a little different. With all these moves going on, where is the support? Again, we're in theoretical territory. Support is where it's created, where it forms is 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 largely the part of some random technicals, maybe like some trailing stuff, like moving averages or something, right? Um, but even your nearest support on the short-term moving average, we're talking 54K, 53K, and on down, the 200 is actually the only moving average that's in our previous price discovery range. So, it's just again, it's not weird to me that we're going parabolic. It's weird to me that we're going parabolic, and the FOMO is somewhat there, but it's still very cautious. In previous times, in previous bull markets when we've done stuff like this, even coming close to the all-time high, the entire community has been going absolutely fucking nuts. You know, everyone goes nuts and every coin goes nuts and everything goes crazy. Everyone's very positive. The laser eyes come out, but yeah, that cautious optimism that I'm seeing. You know, obviously there are the FOMO moon boys out there that are ringleading a lot of big tweets. I think it's good. You know, I am seeing a few of them, but I'm just not seeing the community as wrapped around this as I would like to, which does again bring up the question and of who and what's causing this, and I just don't see the ETF solely being responsible for this. And if they are, then I don't see them upholding this. I think it's always wiser for whales to plant their seeds down low and cap the market. They'll get the fills every time. So yeah, this is interesting. Um, yeah, let's see here. Global Tarot. Maybe they haven't done their homework. Of course, they had to do some homework, but not exhaustively to learn a lesson, just like everyone else had to. Global Tarot Oil brings up. Yeah, I mean, I would say they've probably done more homework than most. I mean, think about it. They didn't get into this until Bitcoin was at 40K. They could have gotten into Bitcoin back at $100, you know? They probably would have inadvertently validated something that they desperately wanted to keep eyes from. You know, Bitcoin does represent a level of freedom never before seen for humans. That let's say the 99% of humans. So I believe for many, many years they were doing everything they could to suppress Bitcoin. Maybe not these whales, but you know, feds and stuff like that for sure. So I think these guys have done their homework. I think it's interesting that they decide to launch the ETF and really effectively start buying in January at roughly 40 to 50K. Down as low as 39, but literally for only weeks have they had that buying opportunity, and other than that, the price has only been going up. I think they've done their homework. It makes me think that one of the best viewpoints I've heard on this was from Fabian saying what they need to do is, wherever they buy, they need to be profitable and they need to stay profitable for a while. But first and most importantly, that's not how they think with any other asset. If you add something to a portfolio, it's not necessarily to stay profitable and remain profitable. It's just not possible to do that every time. For Bitcoin, maybe because there's a lot of skepticism around it, they have a little bit more of a show to put up. But it still means the same thing, that even if they are trying to inflate the price, pump it, make their ETFs look more impressive, let's say, to people that are more at like retirement age, or people that are less aware of crypto, don't know how to hold it, want to get a hand in, so they get this Bitcoin ETF. Yeah, there's definitely something to that. There's something to that. But I think for sure these guys have done their homework. Um, they certainly have. It is interesting that this is at a 40K Bitcoin price point is when the ETF finally launched, when we could have had one between 20 and 3K at the 2017 market high. That end of 2016 was ETF speculation as well, and we crashed down to a low of 3K. I mean, they could have done this at greater than roughly 13 times cheaper than 40K, right? Uh, yeah, at less than 10% of that price, they could have launched an ETF and been at the bottom of the last of one of the lowest price points in the past few years. They could have done it at 15K, where we sat after the FTX crash for a couple months. So why would they choose 40K before a parabolic increase? That's an interesting question. Yeah, and Mira said, Joe, is it possible that ETF inflow is just overpowering everyone else this time? So bullish mainly because the ETF. Yeah, yeah, and Mira said, look, everyone is right to be bullish right now. The ETF thing is huge, and there's clearly buying involved. It's a spot ETF. It's not like some bullshit terms and conditions. It's a pretty straight up spot ETF, and if there are some bullshit terms and conditions, I'm just not aware of them. But I uh I do think this is to do with the ETFs. Are they overpowering everyone else? Well, the reason why the everyone else thing, I would bring that back to the table is because again, Bitcoin has anomaly, which is where the price of, as the Bitcoin price of Bitcoin goes up, more and more people get interested in buying Bitcoin. So the everyone else factor, I think, certainly should be here. Clearly, there's something, I do believe it's something to do with the ETFs. I mean, that's the only thing that makes sense. Um, you know, uh, I don't, I don't really have anything else that makes too much sense. They are buying. I mean, whenever Tone, I think every Friday he updates his thing. He's talking about them buying thousands of Bitcoin. He has that spreadsheet. So I think there's definitely something there. And I think that's probably largely part of it. But again, it's very weird to me to see constant upside action even from an ETF. It's not like Michael Saylor caused this type of stuff and he was buying, thousands of Bitcoin at a time at various price points. The market was truly aware of it all, and it didn't cause much. These guys are if they're only pumping the market for themselves, that's very interesting. Maybe the story here is ETFs are pumping the market to get people to sell, to get open market participants, average Joes, to dump their bags. That actually is probably the best narrative that I've come up with so far, is that they pump the price up far and fast, they get retail to sell, and then they reaccumulate, which is obviously what we've been talking about. But I'm talking about right now at this price point, 72K, 80K, and so on, 72, 75, 80. Um, And yeah, maybe they are trying to pump the price because they're going to get people to sell off. Let's say hodlers out there, each one of them sells 10% of their stack. Maybe that's the goal of these ETF guys. Who knows? It very well could be. So yeah, I think that's actually I'm gonna wrap my head around that one a bit longer. I keep thinking about this stuff, and that's probably one of the best ones that I've had that makes sense. That's it, Praxogy. Yeah, even if yeah, I think that could be a big part of it. Yeah. Yeah, I think that might be it. There's people out there that'll sell a bit more now than they would have any other day. And I think, you get enough of those people to do that, um, it changes hands, lands right in their bag. That I like that narrative. So yeah, there's definitely something to that, and it's again, it's not like the sellers of 100% of their bag, that's not the people I think they're gonna get. I think they're thinking if they can get 10% of the bag of all these hodlers, this massive network of hodlers. Um, yeah, yeah, that makes a little sense. Surviving Palawan, yo, what's up, dog? And good day to you, brother. It's a pleasant evening out here. Pretty warm right now, 50 degrees Fahrenheit. But apparently gonna drop big time. So yeah, this winter's been pretty rough, pretty weird. But yeah, um, actually, you guys, just wanted to say this felt a lot more like the old shows, man. The old shows back when I had my old YouTube channel. I really miss the comments. I'm really happy to have seen so many comments here and so many questions. I really enjoy this interaction more than I enjoy showing up and just talking, by myself. So thank you. Mirza, it's awesome because the strongest hands will be the winners of the cycle. Everyone will be mentally tested. Yeah, hey, Bitcoin is one hell of a mental test. Imagine 20K to 3K, dude. I'll never forget that shit. Always remember how fucking painful that was. To have been right, my personal story, I think I've mentioned this before, but to have been right, in the bull market before that, I'd quit my job, went back to school, sucked at school, but then fucking learned about crypto and, well, I opened up my portfolio, got back in, and I remember being right for a few months there. Did sell some, had a pregnant wife. I was married July of that year. She got pregnant in September. So by December, she was bugging pretty hard. I made money. She was like, we need to get a house, we need to get a car, right? So I got real lucky because I had that external variable kicking me out the market. But then I remember fucking suffering through all that other shit, I remember the mentality at that point was we're going to 50K, we're going to 100K. Bitcoin's never going to stop. and I was so pissed to sell my Bitcoin. And thankfully I did sell some, right? But then learning to trade through that bear market was just absolutely insane, man. That was so fucking crazy. That cycle was very tough, man, because it basically made you look cool for a very short period of time, just a couple months, and then made it look like for me, like I was gonna have to go back to my slave job, you know? Yeah, it looked like I was gonna have to go back to that slave job and, just fucking tough it out, be like, just do it. And fortunately, as bad as that bear market was, things got better, that pump from 3 to 14K, and a lot of things happened in there that were pretty crazy. So yeah, yeah, the mental test of being a Bitcoin or a Bitcoin hodler, a Bitcoiner in general, is immense, immense. Surviving Palawan, we need more shows. Yeah, to be honest, I think we keep this kind of energy up from everyone. It definitely makes shows a lot more exciting for me. Bull market price brings a lot of comments, Jackknife. Well, that's true. I mean, Jackknife, I remember what probably maybe 6 to 8 months ago, it would be me and you in the comments talking about how to survive off grid and what kind of guns to buy, what kind of fucking caliber is best for a zombie apocalypse, we had some good conversations still, but yeah. Yeah, Predator, I miss those old Bitcoin lounge streams, man. Those were the best. Those were absolutely the best. Cigar in hand, scalping 1 second candles. Shit. Yeah, and speaking of scalping 1 second candles, I am getting back into the fold here with another trading competition. We'll be doing that. We'll be signing up and entering the trading competition this week. So yeah, I'll be back to doing some trade streams. We'll do some live trades, and I think we'll get Antoine on there. He's such a good trader too. So we'll do some live trading streams. But this is crazy, man. I gotta be honest. Um, This is really difficult trading. Oh yeah, making meatloaf, hell yeah. It's a very difficult trading environment right now, so this is going to be a good competition, and I encourage you guys to join the competition. Reach out to me if you're having any troubles joining the competition, but you have to sign up with my link in order to enter the competition. It's all private. So this is actually, if you are trading, obviously in a competition, what we do is we trade with something like 20 bucks. We don't want to risk losing any money in a Bitcoin bull market, right? But if you are a trader, it is important to learn to trade all markets. So we do a trading competition. It's starting here very soon. We we trade with 20 bucks. We scalp in and out of positions. We just learn what 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 things can we grasp onto? What bits of information can we really use to make an immediate buying or selling decision when the goal is to win first place amongst your buddies. So yeah, I think there's a lot of value to that. I think if you guys are interested, make sure to reach out. Happy to help, and it's always a great time. It's always a great time hanging out in Discord chat. We'll spend hours there sometimes just fucking shooting the shit with each other, trading. So if you guys are interested in that, link below the video. We'll be scalping, and then of course I'll do a live stream with Antoine during the competition. Probably gonna be a little bit degen, but keep in mind we're going to be using I'm personally going to be using very little capital. I don't want to encourage any true degen behavior, just intense trading behavior. And if you are going to do it, make sure you do it with very low amounts of capital so you don't get completely annihilated. You don't want to do this with significant money. Even $1,000 is too much in my eyes. You want to make sure you can get every single order filled. And I like to take the minimum during a competition. I always do the roughly the minimum. There is no minimum, but in this case, there is a $10,000 trading volume requirement. So with $20 at 10x, that's a $200 trade. Five of those in half a day, that's $1,000 trade volume. So 10 of those in a day, let's say, is 2,000 trade volume. 5 days of that is my $10,000 trade volume requirement met. So this is why I teach, and like to encourage at least that kind of stuff, because a lot of us are thinking of ourselves as mostly investors, but then we get that itch to do something. For example, buy right now. I have money on the side. I have $20,000 and I want to put it all in Bitcoin. Is now the time to do that? Well, I think that that's the point where you change from an investor to a trader. Now you're making a decision that's more in the realm of trade than the realm of investing. Or people say they're going to sell up here. People say, yep, gonna sell. What do you think? Should I sell some of my bag? I'm an investor. I want to sell some of my bag. Well, now the question I ask is, what's your strategy? What according to your strategy is screaming sell right now? And that's what's in the same what according to your strategy is screaming buy. So that's where uh that's where I think something like an indicator, an indication method, Giga Trend, order book analysis, whatever the heck it is you use, I think that's where something comes into play. Because you know, as an investor, you still need to do the right things. Money management is still key. So yeah, I think it's important to even as a novice trade in a competition with 10, 20 bucks is totally okay. And it teaches you a lot. Teaches you a lot, man. A lot of psychology going on in a trading competition. Yo, what's up, Duncan in Japan? Funny enough, I was hoping to see you here, man. I knew I was doing a late night stream. I was like, yo, where's my boy? Good to see you, brother. Always good to see you, Duncan. So, well, I guess you'll be my send off, Duncan. If we have any questions, I'll chill here for another second, see if we get any new questions. But, yep, I'm hopefully gonna play some pool tonight. Drinking a lot of water right now, staying healthy. Put some salt in that water, a little bit of electrolytes. Want to make sure you're not just drinking straight H2O. Reverse osmosis though, keep it clean. Um, let's see here. Yeah, you guys make sure you're doing all your push-ups and sit-ups. Um, turn that shower water cold at the end of your shower. Just do something every day to make sure you're bending out your comfort zone. Shower water cold is that's one of the easiest ways to do it, man. Shit. Tell you what, after sitting in a shower for so long, cozy, turning that shower water cold is the last thing you want to do. So make sure you do something to bend out your comfort zone every day. Do some push-ups. Make sure you stay strong. And love you guys. Let's see here. Oh, Hieronymus NOYB. Curious, you have any interest in El Salvador having and whatnot? I don't think I've seen you before, but what's up, man? And do I have any interest in El Salvador? Yeah, I think it's interesting. I think El Salvador is it definitely did the right thing. It definitely did the right thing. I love the idea of El Salvador and what they've done. Am I gonna move there or anything because of that? I don't know. I feel like it's tough to say where you're gonna move. What places have to offer. Um, but I would love to go there someday. This bull market. So maybe end up out there sometime. I won't be there for the halving party though, that's for sure. But yeah, I'll tell you what, man. It does get pretty quiet in a relatively small town out here. So even going to events like Unconfiscatable in Vegas, that was huge bit of fun. Huge bit of fun. That was a fantastic time. So yeah, I do want to get out quite a bit more. Can you explain some about the indicator you've been following? Have no clue what the colors above and under the candles mean. Well, the colors above the candles mean that there's a ratio discrepancy in the order book, and you can see right here, right? There aren't really too many walls, and where there are walls, you can see a lot of small stuff in between. A lot of small stuff in between these walls, right? So basically, if I'm looking at this order book right now, and I see a massive wall up here, right? And I see a couple massive walls up here, I can immediately tell that the buy side of the book in that range, right now we're looking at this distance 1% to 2.5%, 1% to 2.5% right here. So in this same space, you can see that there are very insignificant amount of orders relative to the amount of orders up here. Now usually that would mean that it's a legitimate sell signal. These are all sell signals. They're a ratio discrepancy saying we've reached a condition based on the number of buyers and sellers in the order book at this price point, at this distance from price, that represents an overextension of buyers pushing into a range that they probably don't belong because they don't have the support to carry it on. So The main theory behind order book analysis is overextension ratios. We pushed deeply into sell side territory. We don't have enough buyers chasing the book. This sell signal will flare, and we should come back down to wherever support has shown, started to show up. And this is a good example of a standalone buy signal. I mean, we're in a bull market, right? Obviously, the trend is up. I would say every trade is a difficult trade. If you're starting to spill and you see this wick, I'll tell you what, probably be difficult to take this trade. But ratio overextension, right? Came to a price point where there was enough support in the book and not enough sellers were chasing the run. And we got out of that right back into sell side resistance. So now is kind of a bad example of order book analysis, but yeah, this is what those signals mean. But we'll cover this more. I think we'll continue to cover this surviving Palawan because there's a lot and that goes into this, these trend bias signals and so forth, and everything just continues to be beaten the fuck up on the sell side. So we're just going to keep covering this right now. I think probably the more technical analysis is key. Obviously, I'm an order book maximalist, but there's got to be reasons why other buyers show up to the party, right? Why buyers show up to the party and break through sell walls and let's say annihilate a signal of mine, where my signal might say, all right, well we have a ratio overextension here. Well, they get blown out. Every analytic tool is going to have those failures. So, I think a technical reason is often the cause of why my signals fail. So I like to use something like this, something that tells me there's a technical trend and technical cause for concern if I'm seeing sell signals showing up. And clearly, GigaTrend's been right for the past handful of signals. We have been dealing with a lot of overhead resistance with GigaTrend longs active, and us breaking through each range, each sell range. Mark Pereira, Moon, yeah, certainly. I mean, I would say, we are mooning right now for sure. Um, Tone brings up the fact that 78K is technically the all-time high adjusted for inflation. I really like that concept. Very interesting. So yeah, let's get there and then see what's next. To me, this is Moon though. A pre-halving all-time high is 100% Moon. So yeah, I definitely agree. We're there right now. But yeah, guys, much love to you all. Thanks so much for tuning in. Go to the Discord channel, say what's up. The Discord link is under the video. We have a trading competition starting. It's going to be a great time. Be a 7-day competition. So if you want to learn trading, there's no minimum requirement to get in. There is a large prize pool. If you do win, it's going to be a lot of fun. So be sure to join the trading competition, and I'll see you guys on the next video. Thanks again so much for tuning in. Love you all. Stay healthy, stay strong, keep your head on tight, and yeah, let's yeah, see you soon.